Okay, hello. Today we are going to see how to create a file and write to that file some content and then read the contents of that file and output them on the console in Java. So we're going to be making some simple Java program that creates a file, writes to that file and reads the contents of the file. So let's start off. Okay, number one, let's first of all create a new project in IntelliJ. Okay, say new project. We want to create an empty project that has nothing in it. Then we shall start from scratch and preload everything. Now let's call this empty project. Okay, we can call it write and read file. Yeah. Then after that we can change the location, but I would like it to be on desktop. I don't want to create a Git repository, so let's go ahead and create the new project. So we want to open it in a new window on its own so that we can start from scratch. So this is what we have ideally in our project. Is actually literally empty and we're starting from scratch. So first of all, let's create a new Java class called probably read and write. Read. Okay, let's start with write. First write and then read. You realize that I'm starting with only capital letters for every word. That's the naming protocol of Java classes. Every word in its name must start with a capital letter. So after that, click on class and the Java class will be created. Okay, now we are good to go. Okay, so before we start anything in this class, before we type anything, I would like to create a package, a Java package, and this package we are going to call it write and read. Okay, I think that's it. Write and read. Click enter and the package will be created. So we want to put our Java file here into this package, so we can just drag it and drop it into this package. So go ahead and click on refactor and now you can see that we have a package inside. This is the correct way of creating Java programs. Every program must have a package, a source package. I mean, every Java class must be created inside a package for proper documentation and also putting things in the right order. So now you can see our public class write and read Java class is inside a package called write and read. So now we can proceed to creating a method that's going to do all that. So first of all, let's first create our public main method that normally actually kickstarts the program, because the program can run without the main method. So we're going to try to write everything from scratch, starting with the main method, which is public and usually static, and void. It's not going to return anything. And here, of course, its name is main. Then arguments, and that's what we are going to the body. So in the arguments, we are going to pass a string of arguments. We don't know how long it is, so we put that curly brackets, I mean parentheses like that, args, string args. So, and in the main method, it's where we're going to call our write method. So this is the main method that we are going to use to run everything that we're going to write. But remember, we're going to make two methods. One that creates and writes into a file, that's one method, and another one that reads what has been written into the file, reads and outputs the content of that file on the console. So Now let's go ahead and create another method for writing in the file. So public and static. And why are we making it static? It's actually a method of the main class, as it has to be static. And then void is not returning anything. I will explain more about the static and void and public, everything all together. They are actually in a video, an introductory video to Java basics, and I will be explaining all the syntax. So no worries, let's just move on to the method. In this video, I'm just assuming that you've already taken those lessons of the basics and you know how the syntax works. So now we're going to be calling the method write. That's the write method. Parentheses where we're going to put arguments and then the body. Now inside the body, we want to start with write, of course, a file. Write a file, but in order to create the file, we need to use a Java API, of course, a class called writer. So we're going to be creating or instantiating an object of that class by saying file and writer, FileWriter.io, and we give it an object writer is equal to new FileWriter, and then now inside here we're going to pass it the name of the file that we want to create. So we're gonna call it file, okay, .txt. So that's the name of the file basically, but now we have an error coming over here. I don't know where the error is coming from, but we're gonna see where exactly it's coming from. Okay, no worries. So we want to know where this error is coming from. So you click on it and say add exception to this method signature. So all surround is try and catch. So whenever we're calling the file write a method from the java.io, we normally surround it with a try and catch method, such that in any case if it's trying to create the file or write into the file and it falls or it gets an error, in any case it fails to do that process, you should be able to catch an error or an exception that prints out on a console, that may be an error card or something like that. So it will be customized. You just have to tell it which method to output if at all it gets an error. So let's try and surround it with a try and catch. Okay, so it has been surrounded with a try and catch. Now you can see our exception is here, and we can go ahead and say maybe throw an exception that, but we can re-edit this to something like something that we can control. Probably we say e.print text trace. We call that class where we can just print what we want. For example, we can just say system. In any case it fails, we want it to print out something, and this is how they print out actually. System.print line, and the line that's going to print, we want it to say an error occurred. Very simple. Okay, so that's it. An error occurred. So if at all it fails to print, it will have to throw this error and bring an error message that an error occurred. So you can try to edit this thing a little bit, probably to e dot print stack trace. I think this is what we want. Yeah, something like that. Okay, now back to our file. Now we instantiate an object of a FileWriter class that's going to be helping us to write into the file. So that file writer class is actually uh, it's a class of the Java API, part of the java.io, that helps us to, first of all, it checks if the file exists, it writes into the file. If the file doesn't exist, then it creates the file and writes into the file. But if the file exists and has some content in it, it will automatically override the content and put what we've told it to put. So that said, let's go ahead and call the write object, and then of course it's that object that is going to help us to write things into that file that has been created. So this is our file.txt that's going to be created, and now we're going to call a method that's going to help us to write into that file. So for that, we call our object, and onto this object we call the write method, which is that, and then inside you have to specify what you want to write into the file. Now we want to print out, probably write some string in a file, hello world, something like that. This is, or these are the contents of the file, something like that. So far now we've created a file using this FileWriter class. We call it on our objects, we call the writer method on our object, and then we write content into the file, and immediately after writing content into the file, we want to close the writer because we are done with whatever we want to do. So we say writer.close. It should be here. Okay, so after closing, we want to print out something that will tell us that we are done with writing things into the file. You can say system.out just as the usual things. Print line, and what we want to print is successfully wrote the file. Blah 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 blah. That's it. Now, so far now we have a program that creates a Java file, a .txt file, a text file, and writes this content into the file, and then closes the writer and prints that it has successfully written to the file. And you will see the file being created in our under our project structure here. You will see the file being created around here called file.txt, and then later we shall see how to read from that file. Now we've finished the public static void write method. The method is that it's going to create a file and write into it is done. Okay, so after that we are now done with writing the write method that we are going to use to write into the file. I think now we can call our method into the main method, but since they are in the same class, we're just going to say write and curly brackets, and that. I think that's all. So if you run, the program will enter this class and enter this method, and will run this method, the write method, and after calling the write method, it will start off into this method by creating a file and writing into it. In any case, there is no file, writing this string into it, then printing that successfully it has wrote or written. In that case, you can say written into the file. And if at all it gets an unexpected error, we shall have an exception of an error occurred. So it's time to run a program. You can run. This is buildings now taking place. In a couple of minutes, we have. You can see that right now. You see we have a new file.txt under our declaration has been added. And also we have some printouts on the console successfully written to the file. So finally it has successfully written to the file. So when you open this file, you will see that hello world, these are the contents of the file. The same thing that we write into the file here has been successfully written to the file. Now that said, we can go ahead and see how we can so we can stop here for now. This is writing into the file. Next we are going to do how to read from the file, how to read what we've just written into the file, how to read it and print it out on the console. So thanks for watching. See you in the next tutorial.